Okay, welcome to our second lecture from our module 1, and here we're going to actually run the installation process. We're going to go through the installation process. So going back to where we were doing at the end of the first video, we have our VirtualBox here. Our virtual machine has been defined. It's been created actually, but there is no operating system running in this virtual machine. That's what we want to do. We want to install the Ubuntu operating system. We're going to simply click there on our virtual machine and click here on Start. It will load. It's just like pressing the power on button on your physical machine. It will load this screen, which is booting the installable system. So we have to wait a few seconds. Obviously, it will depend on your machine configuration, on your CPU, RAM, and basically on your physical resources. And you will face, so let me just drag this here, you will face for a few seconds this black screen while it's loading some modules, some softwares, until you see this screen right here where you read install. Now, basically, you can use the Ubuntu ISO image to do two basic stuff. One is install Ubuntu, which is what we're going to do. When you install the system, you make that system permanent in your hard drive. So the files that are required to use the system will be copied to your hard drive. You will never have to use this ISO image again, at least not to install the system once it's installed. The other option is try Ubuntu. Try Ubuntu is you will run a live system. That means that this system will be copied to the RAM. It will be in your memory, so it's temporary. As soon as you reboot or turn off the virtual machine, that system is gone. So it's a live system. What we're going to do is install Ubuntu. In this step, you have to pick your language. So I will leave English as default, as our language, and click on Install Ubuntu. And then we'll move to the second step, which is defining your keyboard. Now, according to your location, you have different types of keyboards, different layouts, and you have a testing field right here. Okay, so you can test if your keys are according to the layout that's been selected. So you do some tests here. Okay, it's working. I'm pressing the semicolon, column, quotes, and it's all working as expected. So I just continue. Now, the second step is defining your installation type. Most distributions, and Ubuntu is just the same, it's not different, you have some predefined installation types. These predefined installation types are actually a selection of softwares that shall be installed during the installation process. So for example, here you have the normal installation where it will install a web browser, which means that it will install a graphical environment. To run Linux does not depend on a graphical environment. It could be run in just a command line based environment. But since we're using a Ubuntu desktop distribution, well, if it's desktop, it's supposed to have a graphical environment. Therefore, you have the normal installation that will install a web browser, some utilities, Office, software, games, and media players. That's what is expected from a desktop version. And you have a minimum installation that will still install a graphical environment, but just with a web browser and basic utilities. So games won't be installed, the Office software is not going to be installed. You have some other options. For example, so we're gonna do So we're gonna do a minimal installation because, well, we're not going to need these other softwares here. Actually, we're not even going to need at first a graphical environment, but it will be helpful during the course. But that's all that we need. The command line interface, the graphical interface, and the web browser. That's more than enough. Some other options: download updates while installing Ubuntu. This is a good option. You should leave it checked. This saves time after installation. And you can also install third-party software for graphics and Wi-Fi hardware and additional media formats. We're not going to do this. If you have, let's say that you have a Wi-Fi interface that is not a common Wi-Fi interface. It's from a different, not known vendor. The chipset is something different from what is available in industry. So you would have to pick this option here. So we continue with our installation process, and regarding what to do in your hard drive. This computer currently has no detected operating systems. What would you like to do? Erase disk and install Ubuntu? Warning, this will delete all your programs, documents, photos, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so this is the situation because the Ubuntu installer was able to detect that in our virtual hard drive, it's not the physical hard drive. Remember, we're installing it in a virtual machine that's just being created. There is a hard drive, a virtual hard drive, but that virtual hard drive is empty because there is no operating system installed. So it's just telling you, okay, this is the best option because the disk is empty. However, if you do have some stuff there and I can't see, be aware that those files will be deleted. Encrypt the new Ubuntu installation for security. If you want to encrypt the partition, use LVM with the new Ubuntu installation. We are actually going to have a class discussing LVM, but the idea of LVM is allow you to post installation. Once your system is running, you are still able to reduce a partition size, increase a partition size, merge two partitions, so you can play with your partitions in your hard drive in regards to space and size. Or you can do something else. It would allow you to do some more advanced and manual tasks. Okay, so erase disk and install Ubuntu. Install now. Now, it is alerting you that if you continue, the changes listed below will be written to the disks. Otherwise, you will be able to make further changes manually. The partition tables of the following devices are changed. So you have one hard drive, again, virtual hard drive, which is identified as SDA. Once again, we're going to have another class where we're going to discuss how the Linux system names disks and partitions. So if it's a SCSI or SATA hard drive, it will define as SD. And then you have some options. The first hard drive is going to be SDA, the second one SDB. Well, not precisely that way. It's not like the first one is SDA, the second one SDB, the third one SDC. It will actually depend on the controller that you have, the SCSI controller, the SATA controller, the IDE controller that you have. According to that controller, you have a letter associated with it. But by default, your hard drive should be connected to your first controller, the first connector of your first controller, so SDA. And then you have the partitions inside that hard drive. The following partitions are going to be formatted. Partition 1 will be ext4. And it doesn't say here, but it will be created as SDA1 because it's partition number 1. Once again, if you see SDA5, does that mean that it's the 5th partition? No, it does not mean that. We're going to discuss that in more details in another module. Okay, that's what we need. We click on continue. Where are you according to your time zone? That is my time zone, so I'll just leave it as is. But if you're in a different time zone, you can use the cursor to click here and select your time zone. There it is. Obviously, all these setups can be changed post-installation. Some are very easy to do, some are much more complex, especially when it comes to resizing the hard drive, but it's doable. Now, it needs to know some information about yourself, because the way that Ubuntu works is you need a regular user account in order to use the system. There are distributions that you do not need a regular user account. You can simply use the administrative account, which is the root account. Here you need a regular user account. So your name, you're going to write your name here. I'm going to write Linux. Your computer name, Linux-VirtualBox, that's fine also. Okay. Pick a username. I will use Linux. You can just pick the username as you want. Choose a password. I am also going to use Linux. And you confirm it. Okay. It's telling you that this is a very short password, but that's okay. Now, do you want it to log in automatically, or do you want it to require my password to log in? This is the best option. The difference here is once you boot the system, do you want the system to automatically log into the graphical environment using this user here? Or even though there is just one single user, regular user, one regular user, you want to still require the password. Okay, that's what I want. So I simply continue. And there it is. The installation process is running. It should take a while. Obviously, once again, it will depend on your resources, but it shouldn't take long. And I am going to fast forward once the installation process is done. Okay, so we're back, and now that the installation process is done, you see this message here: installation is complete. You need to restart the computer in order to use the new installation. You simply click Restart Now, and it will boot your system that's just been installed. So let's just see how this booting process works. We're not going to analyze it. We're just going to confirm whether it's working or not. So restart now. You can see here that it shows a message. Please remove the installation medium, then press enter. What you have to do here is go back to your machine, to VirtualBox window, click on your virtual machine. It's still running. I go here to settings, storage. Oh, and it's empty. That's what we need. You just have to make sure that the ISO image is not there anymore. Okay, so now we can go back, click there, press enter. And it will boot your newly installed Ubuntu system. You just wait a few seconds, it's booting, and there it is. Your Linux system has been installed, and you're done. If you want to log in, there's your user right there. You click it, you type in the password as you defined, hit enter, and there it is. Your Ubuntu system is ready for use. Once again, according to your physical resources, it can take a while to load, but usually it's just the first time. And there it is. It just is displaying this message here, but you have your environment, your graphical environment ready. Okay, so that's the installation process. As you could see, it's a very easy, straightforward process, specifically when you're installing a Ubuntu distribution. The same goes to distributions such as Mint, for example. That is another distribution that is focused on desktops. If you install another distribution such as, for example, Slackware, it's a completely different process in regards to complexity. It's a much more complex system. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this class. Thank you very much.